Hi there, welcome to our session today. So, for this time, we are going to discuss switch statement in Java. Okay, so switch statement is using a constant value for taking consequences in every in using case block of statement. Okay, so to do that, let's say for an instance we are going to um, have a value. Let's say we have here similarly we want to let's say you want to enter a value either 1 2 or 3 or 4 or whatsoever, and then we are going to, let's say, we wanna know like either even or also add, so we can actually do this one. So num modulus to 2 is equal to num modulus to 2, and then if the result is like case, so by the way, in the case in every case it should be constant value. By the way, in other language like Visual Basic or other language, it's not going to be the same or similar to this one. So normally switch case or switch statements are used for menus. Okay, so let's say we have here this time kind of statement. Then we have here break. So we use break to stop the execution from continuing to the next block of statement. If you don't include break statement right here, the other case will be executed. So the default is like this is like if statement, another it's an else if, and this is else statement. So let's say for an instance, we want to know if a number is even or odd. So basically, the same thing of what we actually did previously. I have here, if it's 0 after the result of this one, if this is 0, it's like this one is actually even. Otherwise, this could be like add, okay? Like this one is add. Now, for default, it could be either like invalid input or something like that. Num is, let's say, invalid. Okay, so and actually this one is useless, and this default here in our program because it's all the result is always going to be either 0 or 1. There's no instance that the result is going to be like it's going to be like it's not either 0 or 1. So let's say let's run the program. So 1 is actually add, okay. 3 is actually add also. Let's say 4, it's going to be even. Yan. So in the case of, let's say, 0, so actually 0 is going to be even. So if this is the case, switch cannot actually do like uh we cannot include I mean it's not the appropriate algo for getting for determining either a number is even or odd, but actually you can make this to like pwede nimo siya butan og if statement, and this is like your else statement. So inside of your else is a switch statement. So let's say for an instance, but it's no, it's medyo, it's not, it's medyo taas na yung code. So we have here num is equal to 0, and you can actually say this num is actually an origin. So yeah, if that's the case, what happened here? So this is if this is this one, this, and we lacked one more. So we have additional statement. Yeah, so if we run the program, then that's origin. So it will execute else statement if the number is not 0. But then again, this is there's conditional operator and if statement that could best answer this kind of problem. Okay, so what's the case of menu? Let's say for an instance, we have here, actually the very reason why there is a case statement, it's like, uh, let's say for an instance, uh, you have a menu, okay? Say for an instance, you have your string menu equals, let's say you want the user to enter, if the user enters add 1, it's going to add the numbers, and then if it's going to be 2, the program is going to subtract the number. Let's say yeah, we put backslash t right here, also backslash t right here, and then you have, let's say, multiply backslash t, yeah, 3 is like multiply, and then 4 is going to divide the number, and then backslash t. Now we have here, let's say 5 is going to end the program, and then backslash n. So basically, this is what we are going to do. Let's say menu, and then you have here like choose. Okay, so basically, it's going to be asking the user either what to do, either to add, to subtract. It's the end. Okay, so either to subtract, multiply, or divide. So if you wanna like make this as a new line or per new line, you can actually do that. So para mas okay siya. And then yeah, so add, subtract, multiply, divide, and so that's, and after that you will probably ask two numbers, int num1 and int num2. Let's say for now, let's assume that the inputs are just, let's say, 0. So for this, you are going to have switch statement right here, and then okay, so you don't have anything, right? Like, so you are actually asking the user to choose. So let's say int selected is equal to, let's say, scanner, mag option pay na lang tabi. So integer that, so this is going to be show input, show message. So option pane that show message. So it's going to be, all right. So in here, we're going to use, yeah, show input dialog na lang tayo diretso. So we have show input dialog, and then we are going to use int is equal int selected equals new option pane. So for this, we'll need to convert, we'll need to parse this as usual sa itong gibuhat last time. So we have integer that parse int, and then there. So we have now parsed the value. So it's expected to have to display this one, no, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 5, up to 5 rather. So this time, let's say you ask for the user to input number, you can also use integer num1 num2 to choo. So for this one, we are going to only use the selected. So again, you can have para you are going to also do this in your at your own. So we have here, uh, let's say num1, and then let's have this as like num2. So we have num2, this is num2. So in here, switch selected. So let me just make this like end of switch, end of main, and then this is end of menu or class rather. So right here, you will now have to get the constant value. So for this, we have case 1. So dapat you'll have break statement. So for every case, so case, yeah. So we have case 2, case 3, case 4, and then you have case 5. And then of course, this is the time you can use the default. If ever the user enters out of range, not between 1 and 5, so it would be out of range. So for this, we are going to have now, you are going to get the result now here. So let's say we have int result equals 0. So based on the numbers, what we are going to do here is result equals num1 plus num2. Yan. And then let's say you have here the to store if it's because we only have one value here, so it's going this hold is going to do the like this one, the like the sum of num1, sorry, num1 and num2 is result. Okay, so you can copy paste this one and then put it here. So this is minus, this is difference, this is, let's see, 3 is multiplication, so this is the product, and then this is like quotient, you divide, so the quotient, and then for this one is going to be, yeah, it's the, let's see, it's 5. 5 is, yeah, program terminating. Choo. And then for default, we are going to display here invalid invalid input. Okay. And after that, we can now display here J option pane that show message null and then hold. Okay, so for this, it's going to be first is mas okay siya if we are going to do the adding of numbers muna before, I don't know, it depends on you. So let's say we run the program and then so it's going to be adding two numbers, let's say two, I mean adding in I want asking you to input numbers, let's say 2 and 5 or 6, and then you have here the option either to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So expected if you are going to input 1 or 2, it's going to subtract. The difference of 2 and 6 is negative 4. So if ever you will actually and let's say enter 4, then if you're going to, let's say, choose 5, so program terminating. So if in case, so mas okay dahil mauna ang menu kay para terminate diretso before mag-enter pa kag number. So let's say 4 and 6, and then you, let's say you choose 6, so invalid input. Okay, so this is the if this is now, I forgot to include earlier, what if you forgot to include the break statement? Okay, let's say you forgot to include the break statement. It will not give you an error, but the thing there is when you choose the sum or the first case, which is 1, and then you choose 1, it's going to instead of subtracting it, it's actually going to proceed to the difference of, actually the process niya ning, it actually processed the addition. However, it is now replaced with this one because we don't display the we don't put J option pane here. Just in case we put J option pane there, we can actually, let's say for an instance, we put J option pane there. So you have two outputs for this one. Okay. So let's say 3 and 5, and then you choose one. So the sum of 3 is 5, and 3 and 5 is 8. Then you also have something like the difference of 3 and 5 is 2, a negative 2 for this line 23. And then another output is at line 39, which is the last that is being read is actually the difference. So that's the reason why you have to have a break statement. So inside of your case. Okay. When do you not use break statement? If ever, okay. Yan. So there you are, no? If ever you will use, or let's say for an instance, instead of number, let's say you have here A, so you have here S, instead of 2, it's S, instead of 3, it's going to be M, and instead of 4, it's going to be D, and instead of 5, it's going to be E. So basically, A, S, M, D, and E. So basically, you have A, you have S, you have. So by the way, earlier, before we proceed, this is like your if statement, no? If selected equals 1, so, yeah, and then this is your like else if selected is equal to 2. So it's actually similar to if condition, only that constant value, we use constant values. Okay. Now, you have here, you are going to use the, instead of, you have here A, so characters, or since this is a, yeah, so the daghan pwede mabot ani. Anyway, sige, I'm going to erase this one. So let's say for an instance, since this is a string, it would be better if you use a string. Yeah, so we have, sorry. Wait for a while. Like for this one, it should be string kasi we used string. So therefore, we have to uh, remove this parsing. And then here, you will have to use that one. And then, okay, this is like S. This is like M. This is like your D for divide, and this is E. So if that is the case, then therefore, this one will actually process, okay, let's say number, and then you enter A rather, so it will get the sum. But what if, okay, what if the user enters 23, 4, and the user enters A? Okay, so if that's the case, of course, it will not process. It's invalid input. So that's the time you will actually use another case, let's say A, small letter, small letter. So it's actually like that. It's the case that doesn't have any break statement. No? So you don't include break statement for in between lower uppercase A and lowercase a. So mas okay siya if ever inanay ulit siya like that. Okay? So this means it's OR operator, and later on we'll discuss logical operator. So M, you have D, you have E. Okay, so when you run the program this time, either you press letter S or small letter capital letter S or small letter S, it's going to still. What happened? Why is it difference? Kasi, yeah, subtract kasi. Yeah, so the difference of 2 and 5 is negative 3. So, yeah. Now, if since our selected is actually a string, meaning it is going to accept in a string value. So let's say for an instance, okay. So yan, invalid input. What if you only would like to capture the a part of the string is, let's say, okay, and you only want to capture the first character of that string. That's the time uh, you can actually use to yeah, sorry, that car at. So you will only capture first index. So in this case, you'll have to make this as an character. So you'll have to remove all this to this one and this one also. So basically, it's just like an else statement and using or operator here. Okay, and then this is like or and or. Oops, this is okay. So I guess that's it. And then if we run the program, and then if ever you type on something like subtract instead of sorry, 6 2, and then you type on something like subtract, so it will only get the first character, which is s. So basically it's going to, it's going to do the subtracting. Okay, so if ever, let's say, not add, but you say something like uh Anna. So it's going to still also, it's going to also reads A, which means it's actually a subtract operator or operation. Ayan, okay? So what if you don't want this one to have like to have multiple case in every block, only because I mean by with only one, like this statement, and you don't want to have two cases. So actually you can do this like this, no? So that two, you decide string has two lowercase and uppercase. So either you use uppercase or two lowercase. It doesn't meaning it doesn't matter if it's you entered a small letter. Anyway, it is going to be converted into uppercase. So meaning to say, for the entered selection, this one, it's if either an input siya A in a small letter, it will be converted into uppercase, and then eventually it will process either A, S, M, and D. So let's run the program now, and then you have, let's say, see, and then you say Anna, and then a small lowercase, and then still going to read the A as capital letter. Okay, capital uppercase, though we entered small case. Okay, so that would be all for switch statement. Thank you guys for listening and watching this video. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.